Hey everybody. So I just got done grading all of the technical reports. So check those out. Rather than do a lot of feedback on how that went, since I feel like that's kind of what last week's video was, I'll just say some patterns I was noticing, and then I want to talk a lot more about the academic paper coming up. So a few patterns I noticed was one of the most difficult things to do in writing, which is having thesis driven. And in this case, the thesis being here's what you as an organization should do. The recommendation, I think, was a hard thing for people to wrap their minds around. So um, I think the pattern that I've noticed is just, man, instructions are so important. Like, if there's certain kinds of importance to certain kinds of writing, so like novels, you can skip every, couple sentences here and there and you'll be fine. You'll understand it. And then other writing, kind of the same thing. Instructions, though, every single sentence, like you need to know it forward and backwards, read it multiple times. I feel like there were things in the instructions, like for example, the word length, the here's what this they're starting this week long awareness campaign. They want to know if you recommend yes or no. And there were people who just didn't catch that and did not make a recommendation. So that was a big one of the biggest patterns that I think stem back to instruction reading. So with this essay coming up, the academic paper, you've got a lot of instructions. You've got a sample academic paper, which we'll look at in a second. There were a few things, though, about writing an academic paper that I wanted to comment on, that I wanted to give my perspective on. So the way that this video pointed out, the way it described academic conferences did not really mesh perfectly with my experience. They kind of described it as, oh, you'll get to this conference and then you'll read the paper that you've written. And in my experience, those are always the worst presentations because it's just somebody reading a paper. The best ones are, here's research that they've done. They've turned it into engaging presentation where they're interacting with people more and have interesting handouts or interesting PowerPoint presentation or Prezi presentation, whatever. So there's that. There's also, you may not even have, like the last conference that I presented at, I didn't even have an essay. I just had an idea that I pitched. And they said, like in this video, they were like, you can, when you submit your essay to the conference organizers, they'll give you feedback on it. And it's like, no, they don't do that. Like, no conference that I've been to has ever given me any feedback on my academic paper. As far as the essay goes, let me point out some things. Nope, that was the Kumbera. Here we go. Emily Fitzpatrick. Canines, clear communicators. So the formatting, here's the main thing I want you to get from this is there is a lot of good things for you to pick up on in this sample essay. Formatting is a huge one. I guess there's a template that they give you, but a lot of moves that they make here. So referring to herself in the third person, which normally is like, whoa, that's weird. APA, yeah, APA is all about being the professional, kind of even talking about yourself in the we, because most APA papers are written as groups. Um, Abstracts are really tough. I would recommend writing the abstract later, if not last. Um, this is still pretty engaging. This is pretty creative. It's not personal. There's no I through any of this. Another things I really noticed about this was um, almost all of the sources are summary or partial sentence integration. There are very few full sentence quotes, and I don't know if there are any block quotes. Let's go through here. Actually, let's jump to the bottom anyway. No block quotes, and that's APA is like that, where if you get casual in your source integration, that is not what APA is about. Let's look at the references page. So we've got all kinds of sources here. We've got 2.5 pages almost from science, from PLOS One. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Psychology Today. You can see that these are journals though, because it's number 13 of 12. So it's the issue, and the name is escaping me, but you get the idea. All of these are from EBSCOhost, from BYUidaho.idm journal. So I would highly recommend you hit the journals really hard. BYU Idaho, just having that as a resource, you don't need to go to Google at all. In fact, going to Google, I would only recommend, so like we've got New York Times, you're going to get that from your Google searches, but the majority of these are from library indexes that you're finding. So I would highly recommend. This is a lot of sources. I can tell you though that whoever wrote this essay probably found more than this. I forget what I tell you guys and what I tell my other students, but if you find twice as many and cut them down to just this number, that's a good move. You know, however you're going to follow these patterns, notice that there's use of humor, there's kind of personal stories, not personal, but like human stories that kind of bring this to life. Any way you can do these kind of moves, I think are valuable. Notice the dates. This is recent stuff that they're finding. So yeah, I really encourage you to look closely at the examples, the instructions. Really try to save yourself some time now, so that later you're not left having gone the wrong course. All right. I didn't shave, so that's why you don't get a video of me. I have decided that I need to be up to code, which I'm not. And I'm currently in Idaho, so just spending some time here at my house, which we're renting out through Airbnb. And it hasn't been burnt down yet, so I definitely feel like a guest though in my own house because it's actually clean, like sparkly clean. All right, well, I'll talk to you guys later, and bye.